Did you know that we actually started a streaming highlights channel? Yeah, called MMO Clips. Just small little clips of our time streaming over on Twitch, clipped by our viewers. Well, mainly by Trix. Now, if you guys miss our streams for whatever reason, and you want to see the stupidity that is, well, us, then there you go. Go ahead and subscribe if you feel it's something of interest to you. Or if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel for new MMO news like this every day. General MMO discussions, MMO giveaways, and if you feel like I deserve it, drop a like and a comment on the video. It is a huge help for the YouTube algorithm. Also, did you know that we're going to be streaming over on Twitch shortly? Yeah, at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I would love to have you guys come on over and visit. Now, let's go ahead here and jump into the MMO news that mattered to me today. Let's start this off with one of my favorite anime MMOs, SoulWorker. With SoulWorker continuing to average 3,000 to 4,000 concurrent players every day and tens of thousands of players playing, it is no surprise that they'd have a Halloween event to celebrate. Sure, every MMO, Final Fantasy XIV, World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2, they're all celebrating Halloween events as well, but I have never seen SoulWorker do one. Nevertheless, players are capable of running a couple different Halloween-themed instances, the Moonlight Party and the Scary Daydream. They each have their own recommended levels, so do keep that in mind. There are tons of awesome goodies, XP and currency boosting items, and most importantly, costume coins to collect. So if that sounds like fun, you know what to do. Also note, SoulWorker is now available completely globally. It has been for months, so if you have been putting off trying it, don't. I was going to list this either as Astellia Online or Astellia Royal, but when it affects both titles, I figured I might as well simply just refer to it as Astellia. I know that some people had no idea that this game was shutting down. It was pretty sudden after all, but the team behind both incarnations of the game decided that while they had set an official termination date, well, they were going to pull the plug early. I know, the game was shutting down anyway. But that is besides the point. I find it kinda shady when a developer or a publisher set a termination date for a game and then do not stick to it. Players were still actively playing, albeit maybe, only a couple hundred or less total, but nevertheless, that is unfair to them. New World has been an overwhelming success for Amazon. Millions of copies sold, millions of active players playing within its first month. The general consensus being that it's something fun, limited, a little on the rough side, yet a fun game to play nevertheless. But therein lies the issue. Its rough launch and its rough handling of Amazon have left the game open to countless exploits, hacks, scams, and just more drama than I've ever seen in the introductory month of a game's release. I've covered multiple of these exploits recently: gold duplication that left the economy in a state of, even if only temporary, ruin; invincibility exploits that completely ruin PvP; players reporting one another en masse in an attempt to get the other player banned. You can literally just Google around, the threads are almost endless, and Amazon's handling of all of this has become a massive meme online. Yeah, New World is a fun game, but that does not mean that New World is a complete game. After waiting years for Ascent Infinite Realm to launch, well, it did, over in North America and a select number of European countries as well. And the launch itself was severely underwhelming. It launched to 13,000 concurrent players after 3 months online. Bless Unleashed still has more active players than that, which is actually kinda laughable. Regardless, Elyon is not a bad game, quite the contrary. For an open world PvP MMORPG, Elyon is a lot of fun. The PvP can get irritating at times, 100%. However, the large world, the solid graphics, and the engaging gameplay make the game worth a try for every free player. Sure, the grind might be horrendous after hitting level 38, the game might be unoptimized, the cash shop might be a little bit concerning in the long term, yet the game is entirely free and you lose absolutely nothing by trying it out. It might at least be a fun alternative to New World until Endwalker in just a few weeks, right? Speaking of Elyon: A New World, you know what else is going to be playable in just a couple weeks? Yeah, Lost Ark. Amazon confirmed that Lost Ark is going to be entering closed beta testing as of November 4th and will run through November 11th. This could potentially be one of the largest MMOs of the last decade if Amazon take the time to advertise it like they did with New World. The beta test will allow players to reach level 55. The cash shop will also be available for players to preview, although it won't allow for real money purchases. Instead, every player is going to receive 40,000 royal crystals to test out everything that's available. Project D is not an MMO, but it is going to have online multiplayer compatibility, so something more akin to Path of Exile or Warframe or Genshin Impact. Thus, I feel as though it's definitely worth covering, and even more so given the fact that Hound 13, the developers of the game, just revealed their first full-length trailer that goes to show off not only the graphical engine in play, but also the combat. Honestly, the trailer made the game feel like a unique amalgamation of Dark Souls and Vindictus, which are two of the best games in their respective genres. Now we don't have any type of expected release date either for beta tests or for the full release, but development looks to be moving along well enough to warrant an actual trailer, which is promising. This is arguably one of the only MMOs of its kind, and that is because it's a TMORPG, a tiny multiplayer online role-playing game, according to the developers. The game just launched earlier this month, and while it has flown mostly under the radar, MRSSSTIX dipped her toes into something that ultimately ended up significantly better than she had expected going in. The social aspect of the game, the unique aesthetic, the world itself, and all of the puzzles that comprise it, all of them made her time in Book of Travels an experience that she will not soon forget. Granted, she is still in the process of playing through the game, so this is not the end for her. Okay, so I've covered Lineage W a couple times. This is, after all, the ultimate, most complete version of Lineage to have ever been created. In the director's opinion, this is what they have been working towards since the IP's inception decades ago. And while the game looks like absolute hot garbage, it is worth noting that the game is launching worldwide on November 4th. Or at least that's what they stated, but according to Massively OP, there are two different sets of regions listed for distribution. Region 1 being comprised of Korea, Japan, Russia, along with the Southeast Asian and Middle Eastern regions, and Region 2 consisting of North America, South America, and Europe. Region 1 will receive the game first, with Region 2, just sometime later. Bless Unleashed might be dying with a little over 10,000 players concurrently logged in during peak hours, but that has not slowed down the rate of content being pushed out. Rather, the developers are already in the process of readying next week's update, which will introduce a plethora of new content, including 2 brand new dungeons. Now, I did a dedicated video on the team's plans for the game's future, with the inclusion of new dungeons, new field bosses, and a brand new class. I honestly won't be surprised if they fall through with some of their plans, as the game is continuing to dwindle in terms of population, which means less revenue generated and less funding to successfully implement all of these grand ideas. Regardless, the game is not dead yet. If you have been playing Bless Unleashed off, then next week might be a solid opportunity to try your luck with it. I figured this is probably worth including, as RaiderZ was an MMO that I had a lot of fun in years ago. Like all Korean MMOs, and more so Korean developers, RaiderZ is getting remade. Although this time it's being remade as a mobile game, RaiderZ M. According to MMO Culture, Seoul Games, the new developers for the game, have confirmed that they will stick closely to the original game systems and graphics. But RaiderZ used to be an incredible action title that cannot be replicated on mobile devices. Masang Soft is still apparently developing RaiderZ Overhaul on PC, but knowing them, this mobile iteration of the game will launch first. And finally, The official Blue Protocol Twitter posted earlier this week about an upcoming event that they're going to be holding. This event in question will take place on Thursday, October 28th at 7 to 8 p.m. I'm assuming local Japanese time? They never made mention of what time zone they were using, but it stands to reason given the game and the developer is Japanese. Now, this event will showcase new footage for the game and how enemies, enemy monsters, enemy characters are designed. I don't know about you guys, but any content, any new footage is good news for me. I might be asleep during the event, but I am more than happy to do a dedicated video covering it once that footage is made available online. And that is it. That is every bit of MMO related news that mattered to me over the last couple weeks. Sure, there's probably more out there, but it's not significant enough for me to really dedicate time to covering. This is what is important, but if you think that there is something I missed, please go ahead and let me know via any platform that I'm available on. Discord, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or even in the comment section below.
Someday soon, I'm gonna make